Hello, loves. Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone's doing well. So, just going to give it a few seconds for people to hop on. Sorry, that just went down the wrong tube. Woo! Only human, right? So, hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So I started this little series. I think it was last week. If not, I skipped a week and it was the week before. But I was realizing how many people were coming into the studio specifically for weight loss. And so I wanted to talk about that in the realm of Ayurveda and kind of the approach that I take with weight loss clients, especially with women, and how to, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of weight loss can be the word has a lot of stigma to it. And for people who have been trying to lose weight in their life, it can be very, I can't think of the word, jarring or like triggering. Triggering's the word. So I don't really like to use that word. However, a lot of people genuinely do want to lose weight. So that is what it's called. And so, excuse me, I just drank water, went down the wrong tube. I wanted to talk about really a healthy way to approach weight loss and getting to the root of it from an Ayurvedic perspective. So yeah, we're going to get right down to it. And so again, this little series that I started was really like the 10 mistakes women make with weight loss. And this one's specifically less of a mistake, but more just what is the Ayurvedic approach to this whole thing. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Okay, so in Ayurveda, we have 3 different doshas. For those who are not familiar with what Ayurveda is, Ayurveda is an Indian healing system that's been around for 5,000 years or more. It's a very, very ancient system, and it involves not just the physical body, but it looks at the body as emotional, mental, spiritual, and it has all these different layers to the body that we have to balance out or heal in order for us to feel healthy and disease-free and vital and at a good weight for your body type. And the cool thing is everybody has a different body type. And there are 3 different categories or doshas, they're called in Ayurveda. And the first one is Vata, the second is Pitta, and the third is Kapha. And so really the first step to everything is figuring out what your dosha actually is. And again, we are all unique. We all have different ethnicities. We have no 2 people are the same, even twins. So everyone is born with a unique set of genetics and metabolisms, but basically overarching, there are these 3 categories. And technically we have all of them within us. And some people have an equal balance of all 3, but most people, and that's less than 1%, but most people are predominantly 1 or 2 of the doshas. And so that's the first step to knowing. But when it comes to weight loss, generally, you are dealing with an imbalance of Vata or Kapha. So Vata energy, just to give you like a little background, Vata energy is a body type that is generally very thin. They tend to lose weight easily, and I'll explain more how this relates to weight loss. They tend to lose weight easily. They have a faster metabolism. They also are more prone to anxiety. They just like have a high, fast functioning system. They are often tall. They're often drier in their skin and their hair. And their bodies tend to be on that side of things. And then we have Kapha, which is going to be more of the heavier build. So these are people who are bigger boned. They tend to have a really hard time losing weight. Their energy is more grounded, and they tend to have more stuck energy, and that can manifest as depression. And yeah, so there's more of that stuckness in the body. And so when it comes to weight loss, most people are either struggling with a Kapha imbalance or they're struggling with a Vata imbalance. And so with Vata, like I said, a lot of Vata can be really thin, but also Vata, when your body is moving way too fast, some people's bodies will actually hold on to weight, and that weight loss issue is actually because there's so much high strung energy in the body. The body doesn't feel safe to lose weight. It doesn't feel safe to let go. So it's always holding on to those calories. And sometimes it's a combo of both. Maybe it's a little bit of Kapha, a little bit of Vata. We just need to balance the whole thing out. Um, so let's talk about Vata first, because I'm starting to see more of that going on, and I'll explain why, than I am seeing of Kapha. So with Vata, each of the body types is related to a season in nature. We are all part of nature as human beings, no matter how disconnected we are. We are animals, we're primal. And so the energy of Vata is very similar to the energy of fall and winter. So in fall and winter, it is dry outside, it is cold, it is fast moving. And so by nature, that is the same in the body if you are a Vata dosha. And so what we need if we are a Vata person, and even if you're not in Vata season, which we're in right now, we need more grounding, lubricating, warming, slow energy. And that means food, that means activities, lifestyle, basically. And so if you are a Vata person who's just like always on the go, always rushing around, eating a lot of cold foods, dry foods, like a lot of salads, a lot of smoothies, a lot of like rice cakes or just toast. I'm just thinking of like drier foods by nature, and you're not eating a lot of fat. The body is going to go into this mode of like, I'm not getting enough of what I need. And so that can go one of two ways. That can go into you having a really hard time gaining weight, or that can be your body holding on to that weight and having a hard time letting go of it because it's in scarcity mode and it doesn't feel safe. So when it comes to Vata, we have to find ways to signal to the body that I am safe. It is safe for me to let go of this extra 5 pounds or this 10 pounds. And all of that is related to the nervous system. So usually in Vata people or Vata imbalance, the nervous system is really, it's a lot in the sympathetic, which is like that fight or flight mode, or fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. There's like a bunch of different ones now. And and you can kind of think of if you want to, we haven't talked about Kapha that much yet, but if you want to categorize yourself and kind of tap into that, do you feel like you're in that overdrive a lot? And that's part of the reason that you're not losing weight. That's actually what I was in when I was struggling with losing weight. And that, so yeah, it's kind of like you do go to the gym. You do try to eat the right foods, or maybe you don't even eat that much and you still find that you're having a really hard time losing weight. That could be related to your nervous system just being in overdrive. And so especially as women, when you're in overdrive, the female body needs a very serious balance of rest and doing. And in fact, I mean, this is, I don't really have research to back this up. Actually, there's probably research. I just don't know of it. The female body needs there's a level of pleasure and luxury that I believe the female body needs to balance itself out. And so many of us are just living kind of on this hamster wheel of things just kind of feeling crappy and not genuinely feeling safe and good and nourishing in the body. So we really, really need that balance of that nourishment. And so Vata, because by nature we're just like always buzzing around, which can be so cool too, because that means that we're very good at doing a lot of different things and we're very creative and we're very talkative and interesting and we just like that's a really great thing. But if it's not feeling good in your body and you're doing way too much of it, that is where that imbalance comes, and that could be a weight loss struggle. So, we'll talk about what to do with that in a little bit. But we're gonna move on to kapha. So kapha imbalance, kapha energy is associated with the energy of spring. So spring by nature is a heavy energetic, has heavy energy to it in the sense that it's moist, it's wet, it's rainy, it's the ground is a little muddy, like things are starting to wake up, the sun is starting to shine, it's getting a little warmer out. It's just a heavy energy. So it's heavy, it's cool, it's moist, and it's also very grounded. There's lots of earth grounding energy. And so if you're a kapha person, you're going to have a lot of that energy within you. It's going to be like you're just a heavier person and by nature, and like that's part of who you are. And I love using the example of like Oprah or Adele. Like they're just bigger boned people. They're not meant to be a size 0. That's just not what their nature is. So again, knowing your dosha is really important because when you know it, then you're not trying to achieve something that's just not who you are. And when you are who you are and you accept that and you start living in that authentic energy, you start to feel so much better and you become way more empowered and way more powerful in whatever it is that you're doing in the world. So that's what that energy of kapha is. And yeah, and like I said, it's that really earthy energy, that grounding energy. It's a slow energy. And the weight loss issue with that is sometimes they get too stuck on that slow energy where their body becomes stagnant and their metabolism is slow. And there's like that sluggishness, that lack of motivation. They don't want to get off the couch, just that heavy energy. And that sometimes can turn into depression as well. And so for kapha, that stagnancy, the body needs a certain amount of movement to it that to keep the metabolism going, and that can turn into weight gain. Kapha is a little more straightforward with that. So, so let's talk about what to do in these situations. So if you are a vata person, and by the way, in kapha season, in springtime, if you are kapha by your body's constitution, we really need to like double down on these rituals in order to keep the body in balance. So, since we're on the kapha conversation, we'll talk about what to do if you're kapha. So, kapha people, you're going to want to add more movement in. Kapha people are going to be they're going to be best if they actually have a little bit of cardio and they do a little more high intensity interval training. They need a little of that oomph, like to get things going. They need a little movement. Their food can be a little more on the spiced side. They're going to be eating slightly lighter. They don't need as many heavy foods. So obviously, like I said, we're in vata season right now, which is fall and winter. So they're going to follow more of a vata diet just because it's the season of vata, but they need to still follow the kapha principles. And some of this can get a little confusing, but just this is just like a starting point of like understanding. So so lighter foods for kapha people, adding a little more movement in. They're going to be more prone on the stuck side. So we want to add a little spontaneity. We're going to be like, maybe go take that class. Maybe like go do something you wouldn't do. Okay. Like maybe don't sit at home. Maybe, go do something. And so, they're going to want a little more of that speediness into their life. And so that's that. So that's with workouts, a little faster, a little more high intensity interval training. Obviously, like, don't kill yourself, but those are just the principles. Adding a little more lighter, drier food, still warm and cooked food, that would be great. But yeah, so that's the lighter side of things. And Kapha people can actually do pretty well with just having 2 meals a day. They don't need to necessarily have three. But it really depends on the person. So there's that. And then um, for Vata people, if you are a Vata dosha and you are looking to lose weight, Vata people, like I said, they usually have a functioning, like very high stress nervous system that's like always buzzing around. And again, that makes it harder for the body to let go of weight sometimes. So Vata people need to learn how to balance their nervous system out and tap more into the parasympathetic nervous system, which different ways to do that. That can be breath work, that can be massage, that can be meditation, that can be slow, thoughtful movement, and really things that bring you pleasure, things that feel really good in the body. So when it comes to movement, doing more grounding exercises. So grounding exercises are going to be less and more grounding. You can kind of just imagine and you can feel in your body when you're doing something that makes you feel more grounded. That could look like doing heavy weight training, slower, fewer reps, slower, heavier weights. So that would be on that side. Another great one is yoga. Another great one is Pilates. But we're thinking more energy that's slower and more grounding. So we're not here for speed. So see how some people who are trying to lose weight, if they're Vata, they're going to be like, well, I better get a Peloton bike and I better start doing high intensity interval training and jumping around. And that's not always the case, and usually that pushes you even further out of balance. Your body doesn't want to do that by nature. It doesn't feel safe. So on the other side of slower, more grounding movements and really incorporating the breath, making sure with each rep that you do, with each exercise that you do, you're really concentrating on the breath because the breath is what's signaling to the body, kind of like the pace of things. Your breath really does set the pace. Yeah. And so that's where the nervous system starts to feel safe. The best way to regulate the nervous system, the three best ways are going to be movement, breath, and actually sound. So when you create like a vibration, like you hum or you make any sort of sound, that is going to be healing for the nervous system as well. So the name of the game, Vata, is really about the nervous system, like what is going to help regulate the nervous system. So then as far as food goes for Vata people who are looking to lose weight, it's going to be more on the ironically heavier side where you're going to be eating. You're going to want to concentrate on more grounding, lubricating, warming foods. Like it's very seasonal if you think about it. It's like squashes. It's like I don't think squash is his world. Squash, um, potatoes, sweet potatoes are really amazing. Cooked veggies, some grains, heavier meats, more protein, definitely fat. So fat is a very, very important part of every dosha, but definitely for Vata people. Ghee is something that I recommend to every single person. Ghee is basically butter with the lactose removed. It's like clarified butter, but it's a little different. You always want to use grass fed. And I recently just had a client who was struggling with a Vata imbalance, who was having a really hard time gaining weight, and she was missing periods, and like it was like she was very dysregulated that way. She now has a normal menstrual cycle, and I'm sure there's lots of parts of why, but a big part is she's ingesting a couple tablespoons of ghee a day. And I eat ghee at least 3 tablespoons a day. Like it really helps moisturize my body, lubricate my systems, keeps my skin healthy. It's really huge. So, when it comes to that Vata imbalance and people are like, I can't lose weight. I'm not eating fat and I'm just like eating salads and like I'm smoothies and I can't lose weight. It's like the body doesn't feel safe. That's not what your constitution is. Your constitution wants heavier foods and it needs you to slow down. So weight loss doesn't always mean you need to speed up. It can also mean that you need to slow down. So I hope that was helpful for people. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to send me a message and reach out. My link to my website is also in my bio if you want to book a consultation. I do tons of Ayurvedic work with people, and I do a lot of work with also functional weight training and somatic healing, helping move stuck energy in the body. And yeah, this is all just part of you feeling more grounded and more balanced in your body. And when you do that, you are able to really step into the world with your full energy, with what you are here to do, with your purpose, being more connected to people, your family, your kids, your partner, your friends. This is all, it has a purpose to it, and that's for you to just feel better in your life and your body. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Have a great weekend.